A very good afternoon, all of you. Hi, Varun. So, I welcome you all to this last lab to NMAT. And today we are going to talk about the kinds of parajumble questions that are asked in NMAT. Okay, so that's on the agenda. And of course, we are going to solve a lot of parajumble questions of the type that can be asked from you in the exam. Right? So, welcome to the session. I am Nikita, and you are here on BYJU'S Exam Prep. Right? So, Parajumbles are a staple feature of a lot of exams and not just NMAT. So whatever we practice today will come in handy not just for this exam but also for all your non-CAT exams. Okay. So first of all, what was the exam pattern last year? Let's begin from there so that you have an idea as to how much time you will get to attempt a parajumble question. So we had 36 questions last year that had to be attempted in 28 minutes. The level of difficulty of questions is usually moderate. For parajumbles also it is easy or moderate, right? Very rarely it will happen that you'll get an extremely difficult parajumble. Why? Because the options are there. Okay, these are MCQ parajumbles. That's why there is a low chance of the question being extremely difficult for you. Okay, so 36 questions to be attempted in 28 minutes. That means approximately, I mean, you have less than a minute, approximately 45 seconds for a question, right? So, keeping this in mind, you have 4 parajumble questions, right? Hi Varun, hi Naveen. So you're joining after a long time, is it? Hi Ayushi. Ayushi, they are easier than CAT. Okay, easier than CAT's parajumbles. Okay. Thank you so much, Naveen. Welcome to the session. Right. So, if I look at the topic-wise breakup, so you can see that last year, this is from one of the slots of NMAT, okay? This is from one of the NMAT slots. So, it's a tentative breakup based on one slot of NMAT in 2021. Okay, so in 2021, in one of the slots, we had 4 parajumble questions. Of what type? There were 2 4-sentence parajumbles and 2 5-sentence parajumbles. Okay, so 2 of them were they had 4 sentences that you had to arrange with options, so they are always MCQ, remember that, and 2 of them had 5 sentences. Now it makes sense to practice MCQ parajumbles for NMAT because see, it's an adaptive test and therefore you cannot skip the questions. You'll have to mark anything, I mean something or the other, either way, right? So why not practice these questions so that we ensure accuracy also. So what we are going to do today is we are going to practice 4-sentence parajumbles, 5-sentence parajumbles, and some 6-sentence parajumbles as well, right? So that's going to be on our agenda. Yes, please ask away your queries. You do not need to take my permission for that. Okay, just ask away any query that you have. That is what these sessions are meant for. Okay. Hi Apurva, good afternoon. Hello Ayushi, good afternoon. Right. And if let's say you are interested in the other portions, RC passages carry 12 questions, analogy, which is a vocabulary based question, right? There were 5 questions from analogy. Okay, in fact, this time also in the indicative breakup that NMAT has provided on its website, in the indicative breakup, they have mentioned analogy questions as well, right? So analogy, parajumbles, reading comprehension, they are mentioned. Fill in the blanks also appeared. So these were vocabulary based, 2 of them. No, sorry, 5 of them with 2 blanks were vocabulary based and 4 of them were grammar based, preposition questions specifically. Again given on the NMAT official website for NMAT 2022 syllabus. This is also mentioned, prepositions, right? Error spotting again mentioned. Okay, so 6 questions from that were asked. So this is your breakup of these 36 questions that you're going to be questioned on. Right. No, Naveen, I've been taking sessions and I have sessions from Tuesday to Saturday at 12 p.m. Okay, I see you on the channel BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and NBA. Okay, you may be getting push notifications also for some of these sessions. So the notifications are usually dependent on how much you interact with a particular session, right? If you open that session regularly, you get more notifications for that. Okay, so 12 p.m. Tuesday to Saturday, I see you over YouTube. All right. Now, let's have a look at how Parajumbles have appeared, in what format. So they have consistently appeared. They have been a constant, right? And it's not that they've always been of the same type. Sometimes they've been 4 sentence, sometimes they've been 5 sentence, right? So we are going to cover, as I told you, these 3 types today. Okay. All right. Critical, what's the level of NMAT RCs? NMAT RCs are of a moderate level, Sanket. So I would say that if let's say you have 3 RCs, if you have 3 RCs of 4 questions each, just giving you an example, okay, it's possible that 2 of them are easy to moderate and 1 of them is moderate to difficult. Okay, it's not fixed as such, but this is how it usually goes. So they are of a moderate level. That's why we say that. The level of difficulty is usually less than that of, let's say, ZAT or CAT. It's usually less than that, right? Critical reasoning questions, yes, they can be asked. Okay. In fact, I just recorded a short, I think it has been released also, where I talked to you about all the topics that are mentioned on the NMAT official website. Okay. That have been given as the indicative syllabus for language skills. So go through that. Okay. All right. Vocabulary, the list of words which are mentioned in OG is sufficient. This is a question that I get a lot. That for vocabulary, is the high frequency list sufficient? See, the high frequency list will help you to cover a lot of ground that is there. Moreover, it's pretty authentic because it comes from the official guide. So my suggestion is that yes, go through that high frequency list. Okay. Anyway, for that you will be learning 10 to 15 words every day if you have to cover it, isn't it? So whether it is sufficient or not, I can't guarantee that to you, that no words outside it can come. But yes, it will add tremendously to your current pool of vocabulary. That I can tell you. Right? Otherwise, in vocabulary, nothing is ever sufficient. Vocabulary is like an ocean. Okay? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Naveen. Okay. Now, let's begin with our questions for the day. 4 sentence parajumbles. Here is the first question on your screen. Okay, first the instructions before the question. 4 sentences, that there are 4 sentences that are given to you. When they'll be properly sequenced, they form a coherent paragraph, and each sentence has a number. Decide on the proper sequence of the order and then select your answer accordingly. Basically, it's an MCQ parajumble. You will be given options. That's what the directions are trying to say in a lot of words. Okay, so let us have a look at this. Okay, 5 options are given to you, right? So tell me what the answer should be here. Yes. Uh, okay, I hope the options are visible. So Ishan, though the length is not fixed as such, it's not a very standardized length that NMAT asks every year, but recently it has not been asking long RC passages. So we have seen 500 word RCs only. Okay, approximately 500 words, on an average 500 word RCs only, right? Contract versus ad hoc. See, ad hoc indicates the temporary nature of something, whereas when we talk about a contract, it just indicates the presence of a legal arrangement between the 2 parties. This contract could be a long-term contract as well, right? So yes, there is a difference. When we say ad hoc, that indicates the temporariness of the situation, right? Okay. B, C. I've got 2 responses. I need more. All right. One more C. Others? Yes, come on, come on. I want all of you to respond. See, in the exam also, there's no outright negative marking that you can see, right? So, and anyway, you have to attempt. So, Give me an answer here as well. Okay, B, C. All right. So it's B versus C. I'm assuming that from my end because I've got these responses only. B or C. Let's have a look at both of them actually. So one. So you are saying either 2 is the opening sentence or 4 is the opening sentence. But 4 talks about what distinguishes drill from other forms of hip hop. Okay, so it's an advanced discussion that is happening after defining drill. I first define what drill is, then I distinguish it from the other forms of hip hop. So these two actually define it first. Chicago's deeply disenfranchised black communities gave birth to drill, a rap sound. Now see, here I'm defining it. That's how I know this is the opening sentence. A rap sound that has since spread to London. Okay, London, New York, Paris, Amsterdam, blah, blah, blah. Okay, a lot of places. Named after a slang term. What? What has been named after a slang term? Drill. Named after a slang term for attacks between gangs, drill is ominous hip hop with lyrics. You know, ominous, bad omen, something that indicates that something bad is going to happen. It is ominous hip hop with lyrics like trap and gangster rap before it. So the lyrics are about drug dealing and street crime. Just like in another form of music, we have trap, gangster rap. There also the lyrics are about drug dealing and street crime. So now I am elaborating on this. 2, 1 come first, then come 4 and 3 because now I am distinguishing it from other forms, particularly trap. So 2, 1, 4, 3 is the answer here. So what did I rely on? So for Tiksha, for the section language skills, yes, you will be given 28 minutes. Okay, you will not be given anything beyond that. Okay, for each question, there is no time. Okay, so what did we rely on? We relied on theme-based clues here, primarily theme-based clues. Okay, so I told you that, okay, this is the definition. This is elaborating that. So this is an elaboration. Now, also the structure, definition, elaboration, then comparison. We relied on structure-based clues here. So see, this works. Such relying on such clues, being alert towards such clues works, helps you in solving your parajumble questions, makes the process speedier, and also taking the help of options. So here the options told me that okay, 2 1 is a pair because most of you said B and C, so that means most of you realize that 2 1 is a pair, right? So the options can help you to some extent. Okay, so take the help of options as much as you can, but don't solve completely through options. That will make the process very lengthy. Okay. All right. Okay. Diksha, we are here not just to solve questions, okay? For that, you have topic tests, sectional tests. We are here to understand how to solve questions. We are here to be exposed to the various kinds of questions. So, no, I'm not wasting my students' time. I am very aware about that, right? So, look at this question two on your screens. Let's see who answers the fastest. And after that, we'll discuss it in detail. Yes. So Divya, in addition to RC passages and parajumbles, which are there in CAD, NMAT also asks vocabulary and grammar based questions. So in addition, you'll have to prepare for these two areas, vocabulary and grammar, right? So I suggest that you can purchase the NMAT official guide and practice vocabulary and grammar questions from there. Okay, so that will prepare you to some extent for NMAT. Okay, Varun has already answered. Others. Yes, Nihar says D. All right. Okay. Others. Siddharth says A. Devika says D. All right. So D has emerged to be the strong contender here. C also I have got. All right. So A, C, D. Diverse responses. Okay. So again, let's form connections. So if I look at my options cursorily, I realize that 2, 3, 4, any of them could be the opening sentence. That does not help me a lot, but at least it helps me to know that one is not the opening sentence. So I need not waste my time in deciding whether one is the opening sentence or not. Right? Now, there are 1212 in total. There are 212 in total. So what what am I saying? What is 212 in total? What are 212 in total? That needs to be defined, right? So even 2 cannot be the opening sentence. In case there is a sentence that is actually telling me what does this 212 refer to? And there is such a sentence. That is why even 2 cannot be the opening sentence. Okay. So we are talking about species. The lake itself is often referred to as the European Galapagos due to the high number of species found nowhere else but here. Due to the high number of species found nowhere else but here. So now I'm elaborating how many species? 212 in total, which span the entirety of the food chain from algae and zooplanktons to plants, snails, and worms. So many species of various organisms. So 3 and then 2. This much I am sure about, that species should come first. So once I realize that it's 3 and then 2, it's either A or C. Now see, our job has become so easy. We know that 3, 2 is a pair. 3, 2 is a mandatory pair. I just have to decide, should it be 1, 4, should it be 4, 1? You tell me. 1, 4 or 4, 1? A or C? A or C? It is C. Absolutely correct. Why? Because this continues the discussion of species. So first I said, okay, a high number of species. Then I elaborated 212 in total, ranging from algae, plants, snails, and worms. Then I also elaborated specifically about the fish, that there are 17 fish species in total, of which 8 are endemic, native to the lake. Endemic means native. So 3, 2, 4, and then 1, because now I start talking about its size. So I hope this is clear to you. Now again, what kind of clues did we utilize? There are 212 in total. So I questioned myself, what? Right? What does this 212 refer to? It refers to species. So this is a grammar based clue right here. That 212 was used as a pronoun for species here. A grammar based clue right here. Then a theme based clue, that first I will finish talking about the species, then I will start talking about the size of the lake. So this was a theme based, right? Hope this is clear. Whenever you have a discussion in a sentence, that is not present in any of the other sentences. So for instance, the size discussion, that means it is going to be the last sentence. It can't be the first sentence because the other sentences are not talking about it. Similarly, it cannot be the middle sentence because no sentence next to it is talking about it. So it has to be the last sentence. A new thing that you learned through this question. Okay. All right then. 3, 2, 4, 1. Let's proceed to our next question. Yes. Fastest fingers first again. All right. Let's see who answers the fastest. Okay. Ayushi says C. All right. Others, what do you say? Okay, Diksha, did you pose a query? If yes, please address it to me. and follow it up with a question mark. Okay, C is what you say. A lot of you, in fact. All right. 3241. Okay. Others? No other option, is it? Okay, you said 3 2 is a pair. All right. Okay. Let's have a look. So that's why one suggestion that I would give you right at this stage, which is there in the afterword also, but I'll give it here itself. Read the sentences completely. Don't just read, let's say, the initial few words and then decide on that basis itself. Right? Read the entire sentence. Okay. So widely known as the father of botany, this Greek author refers to whom? This guy, Theophrastus. I hope this is how he pronounced his name. Okay, Theophrastus. So that means one should come before three. If one should come before three, then aren't A and C both eliminated? Yes? There is no poll system available on YouTube. Okay, YouTube does not allow for that facility to me, at least. I cannot launch a poll from my end here, right? So that's why you'll have to make do with the chat box system that we are following. In case, I mean, you are interested in our enrolled sessions in our paid batches, we follow the poll system. Okay, all right. So coming to this again, see this. We have named the person here and then we have called him this Greek author. So when the moment you say this, that means you have talked about him earlier. And yes, a sentence does talk about him earlier. So one has to come before three, right? Also, the herb, when I say the herb, what does this refer to? This refers to Silphium. Central to this botanical riddle is the fact that Silphium could not be farmed. Let's say you've not heard of Silphium in your entire life, right? Then also, because you're talking about farming it, so most likely it's a plant, it's a herb. So from that, you can make a guess. So you need not get caught up in the exact meanings of words, but you need to guess the meanings of words. So 4 should come before 1. In which sentence is this happening? In which option? Either this or this. So now tell me, what should be the answer? Yes, D or E? It is option E. Okay, option E. All right. 4132. So central to this botanical riddle is the fact that Silphium could not be farmed. The herb stumped even the most enthusiastic plant geek of the day, Theophrastus. Widely known as the father of botany, this Greek author was best friend with another giant, Aristotle, who is the father of biology, and wrote extensively about the characteristics of plants. Though he did not understand why it could not be cultivated either. It refers to Silphium, why it could not be cultivated either. He observed that they tended to grow best on land. Actually, this should also have been it. Okay, because we are talking about Silphium only, right? So it tended to grow best on land that had been dug up the previous year. So this should also have been it ideally, but even if, let's say, this was given as they to us, because these have been copied from various articles, various newspaper articles. So we have just made these out of various sources. So even if they is written, then also I can decide on the sequence based on the other grammar based clues. The herb refers to Silphium. This Greek author refers to Theophrastus, right? So very strong grammar based clues, theme based clues here. Okay, all right. Uh, okay, so is the answer here? Right. Question 4. Let's have a look. Right. Question 4, fastest fingers first. C, A, all right. Okay. A lot of you say A, others. Do we second them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 responses I've got. Let me just quickly check how many students are there in the session so that I know who all are not responding. A, okay. E also I've got now. Okay. All right then. I'll make do with this level of response and I'll explain this now. See this. I think 4 is the opening sentence. That's very clear. 4 is the opening sentence because I'm saying imagine the following scenario. And actually the other 3 sentences explain that scenario only. So following, it gives me a clue, right? So that's how C, B, D, they get eliminated. Now what is the scenario? Scientists identify a potential global threat. The moment I realized this, that 3 should come after 4. Okay, because first is identifying the threat, then only the threat will grow and then it will become inevitable. Inevitable means now you don't have any choice, right? So first you identify a threat, then it grows, it becomes inevitable, then you do not have a choice. So clear sequence, a clear structure to this. And because of this structure, it's a very easy question. Okay, 4, 3, 1, 2. Absolutely correct. A is the answer. So most of you got this correct. That means you found this easy. We do get this level also in NMAT, right? It's not that all questions are going to be moderate to difficult. You do get easy to moderate questions as well, right? Okay. Now these were some 4-sentence parajumbles. Let's have a look at some 5-sentence parajumbles. Okay, so the only thing that changes is the number of sentences. So probably they might take some more time, but it also depends on the kind of options that you have. Sometimes the options make a question extremely easy. Okay, because they are pretty far apart. And if you quickly realize that this is a mandatory pair, it's present in only one option, your job is done. So rely on making mandatory pairs. Okay, the instructions are pretty much the same. You have to choose amongst the given choices, 5 given choices to you, 5 sentences. And let's see this question here. If you have any queries, you can ask in the 4-sentence parajumbles. Let's see. Question 5. Fastest fingers first. Disha says C. All. Varun also says C. Do we second them? So they answered in less than a minute. Good. Ayushi C. Mohit C. Others. Does everybody say C? Just 4 of you have answered. Come on. Uh, this is not even 1/4 of the class. What are the others doing? No negative marking in the exam also. As in, there is an implicit marking. There's an implicit penalty that you get, but there's no explicit negative marking, no, in NMAT. So, absolutely correct. Those who have taken out the time to answer this, you guys are correct. And see, this was one such question. That's why I highlighted this before this question, that sometimes the options are so far apart. There is just one option that has E as the opening sentence. And the moment you read this, you realize that first I will say this, that intelligence can be measured by tests, and then I'll talk about the various intelligence tests, isn't it? तो पहले मैं यही बोलूंगी ना कि हाँ measure हो सकती है टेस्ट, उसके बाद मैं टेस्ट की बात करूंगी. And that's why This is the clear-cut answer. No option comes even close, right? Uh, B says the first set of such tests. In case you are saying that D should be the opening sentence, it says such tests. So which tests? If one of the other sentences mentions the name of the test, then this should come after that. So, and that is the case in this question. So D cannot be the opening sentence, right? C is actually giving me what these tests actually do, how these tests are used. What is the end result of the test? Intelligence is expressed as an IQ intelligence question, right? So this is the end result of the test. And that's why this also cannot be the opening sentence. C. So it's not just about the number of sentences that you get, it's also a lot about the options that you get. Make use of options. Okay, 5 questions, 5 options again. And I hope all of them are visible to you. I am not hiding any of them. Okay, yes, they are visible. Let's see this one. A lot of clues, a lot of clues. Fastest fingers first again. In the exam, on an average, you have approximately 45 seconds. Now, of course, you save some time in vocabulary and grammar questions. So it's not that you will get strictly 45 seconds here. Let's say you attempted a grammar question in 20 seconds only, a vocabulary question in 20 seconds only. Then, of course, you are going to have relatively more time for your RC questions and for your parajumble questions. So it depends on how you balance your time across question types, right? Okay. And I'm keeping a track of time right now, and some of you have answered in less than a minute. Good, good, good. So everyone, I think Mohit also. So everyone from Subramaniam to Mohit answered within a minute. I gave it to you at 3:32. Right now it's 3:33. So A is what you say. Most of you. One of you says D also. All right. But if you see, male children were examined at birth by the city council. Whose city council? कहाँ का city council, right? That question arises, and if that is mentioned in any of the others, then this cannot be the opening sentence. The truth is, it is mentioned. We are talking about the Spartan city council, the city council of Spartans, right? So B is indeed the opening sentence. The bellicose Spartans. What's the meaning of bellicose? So a vocabulary word here, bellicose. Let's see. Ayushi, it's not fixed as such, but last year what I saw was 450, 500 words. So you can take an average of 500 and to get an exact idea. See, because NMAT previous year papers, they're not available in the public domain, but they are there in the NMAT official guide. So I would highly recommend that if you are preparing sincerely for NMAT, then you should buy the NMAT official guide. That will give you an exact idea that, okay, in this slot, this passage was of this length. So you can calculate an average yourself, right? Okay. So nobody is giving me the meaning of bellicose. Yes, it's an adjective. When I call someone bellicose or belligerent, I mean that they are very aggressive. They're always ready to fight. They're always ready to fight. Okay. So Mohit says fighter. Yes, yes. Somebody. So basically it's an adjective. So yeah, someone who's aggressive, someone who's always ready to fight. So the bellicose Spartans sacrificed all the finer things in life for military expertise. Okay, so we first give a general sentence here that they sacrificed all the finer things in life for military expertise, and then the rest of the sentences simply elaborated. Okay, So how did they sacrifice? See, now I explain the process to you. Male children were examined at birth by the city council, and those deemed too weak to become soldiers were left to die of exposure. Right? So it's a sort of selection that is happening on a scientific basis, right? Something that Hitler also carried out, isn't it? So those that were too weak to become soldiers were left to die of exposure. Then those fortunate enough, see now grammar based rule, those fortunate enough to survive babyhood. So some of them were not surviving, those fortunate enough to survive. So I see that EC is a pair. The moment I realize that EC is a pair, these two options go out of the window. Then I know that B is the opening sentence. This has to be the answer here. No other answer possible. Right. Now they were undergoing a rigorous military training. What did that entail? This military training consisted mainly of beatings and deprivations, and so that they were forced to steal, or in order to survive when caught in the act of stealing. So a lot of clues, as I said, and most of you correctly guessed that A is the answer. Correctly answered this. All right, all right. So in case, just ignore the messages in case you feel someone is spamming. I tend to block such people, okay, so that I don't see their messages. Anyway, coming to question 7. I hope again this is visible to you. Yes, steal and caught in the act is absolutely a link point. So it's a theme-based link right there. Let's see. So the only way to improve at Parajumbles is through practice. The more questions you practice, the better you become at them. And of course, practicing with the right technique, finding mandatory pairs, using grammar based clues, theme based clues, structure based clues. The technique also has to be correct. Disha says D. She has answered the fastest. Let's see what the others say. Subramanyam also says D. I've got 1E, 1B also. All right. So diverse responses. Others. Okay. Just 4 responses. What is the what are others doing? I'm just trying to understand that. B again. Okay. So D, B, basically two of you say D, two of you say B, a couple of you, one of you says E also. Okay. These costs. So I'm talking about some costs. Then this is a social cost of theft. A social cost of theft is that both the thief and the potential victim use resources to gain or maintain control over property. So I define the social cost here. C should definitely come before D. Yes, C should definitely come before D. E is eliminated. Then if you see, this is both parties. Who are both parties? Yes, both parties. Which both parties am I talking about? The thief and the legitimate property owner. The thief and the legitimate property owner. So you tell me, should B come first? Should A come first? Should B come first? Should A come first? Yes. So C is the opening sentence here because we are talking about the social cost of theft only and what all is being done to prevent theft, right? And we are saying that okay, this is a social cost only, that the thief is actually spending time and money to steal. The property owner is spending resources to prevent the theft, and these costs may escalate also. When technology advances, these costs may escalate. This has been given as an example of that. So now I focused on the structure, that this has been given as an example of this assertion. So DE is again a very clear pair. So I realized that C is the opening sentence, DE is a pair. And in just these two steps, I was able to solve my question, right? So some of you could get confused here. Should it be AB? Should it be BA? Right? Because some students make this pair as BA. They think first I'll name the parties and then I'll say both parties. But if you look at the other sentences here, the sequence makes sense, right? B is, A is in a way giving an introduction that they use capital and labor. Then I explain how do they use capital, how do they use labor in B. That's why B will come later. Okay, I hope this is clear now. C, A, B, D, E. This is going to be the sequence here. Any query, ask me. And try to solve your question in 1 to 2 steps. So for instance, identifying the opening sentence, identifying the mandatory pair. Okay, so this works. Pardon for what, Subramanyam? Which part did you not hear? Acha, theek hai. All right. Again, a 5-sentence parajumble. Now, if you see, B is the opening sentence in all of them. So, such quick glance, glancing at the options quickly helps. Now, I know that this is my opening sentence. Ambassadors have to choose their words. So, let's see what continues this the best. After B, what should come? Fastest fingers first. Let's see. B is the opening sentence. B is the opening sentence, Subramanyam, in this question. I should have got one response by now at least. Okay, Ayushi has responded. She says C. Others, quickly. Mohit says A. All right, D. Okay. So I expected all of you to solve this question in this time frame. Okay. So A, B, C. Okay, Subramanian, we'll go back to this. Let's finish discussing this. A, C, or D. What is the answer? Let's have a look. See, one mandatory pair that I identified in this was DC. So with ambassadors, as with other experts. So first I talk about ambassadors in general, that how they have to be careful with their words because they perform this important specialized job, right? Then D says, so with ambassadors, as with other expatriates in Black Africa, there appears at a first meeting a kind of ambivalence. Okay, there is an ambivalence. So now see, vocabulary can help us here. When you don't give a clear answer about something, okay, when you're beating about the bush, when you have mixed feelings about something, that is ambivalence. So there appears a kind of ambivalence. What is that ambivalence? To say the things that they feel that they have to say, they appear to be denying or ignoring parts of what they know. So there is an ambivalence there. So DC is a pair. Once you realize that, you narrow down your options, isn't it? To just two. And now I can very easily decide, should A follow B? Should E follow B? Ambassadors have to choose their words. They have to choose their words. Why? Why should they choose their words? Because they do a specialized job. And it is necessary for them to live ceremonial lives, symbolic sort of lives, wherein, again, they don't express themselves completely as they are. So B and then E. As officials, their vision of a country should not run too far beyond that of the local people with whom they have to deal. And then I talk about a specific case here, that of a specific continent. Okay, fine, but I talk about the case of a specific region here. B, E, and then A, and then a specific example in B. Does this make sense to everyone? Perfect, perfect. And one of you asked about the previous question. You felt that this B should be the second sentence. No, I understand why you feel that. See this. A social cost of theft is that both the thief and the potential victim. So I have named the parties here as well. I have named the parties here as well. So I can say both parties here. So a social cost of theft is that both of them have to use resources. Both the thief and the potential victim use resources. What kind of resources? Capital and labor. How capital, how labor? See, labor because the thief is spending time. Capital because he's spending money also. Similarly, property owner buys locks, so spends time in buying locks, spends money in buying locks. So first I name the parties, then I say they spend capital and labor, then I explain what kind of capital, what kind of labor. So C, A, and then B. Hope this is clear now. Perfect. All right. Okay. So this was about our 5-sentence parajumbles, right? And we again learned quite a few new things here, that how we should pay attention to the structure, general sentences versus specific examples, right? How again uh, first a definition or a statement and then its elaboration, paying attention to this structure can help us. Making mandatory pairs can help us. Identifying opening sentences, eliminating options, and through just one mandatory pair and one opening sentence, I can solve a question in 2 steps. That is all that we picked up from our 5-sentence parajumbles. Now we have 6-sentence parajumbles, but they're 6-sentence parajumbles only in their name. Uh, we haven't seen NMAT asking 6-sentence parajumbles where you have to arrange all 6 of them. If at all, it will ask you 6-sentence parajumbles. No, it will give at least one of the sentences as fixed. So what we have done today is we have 2 fixed sentences. Okay, we have 2 fixed sentences here, and you just have to arrange the middle 4. So it's essentially a 4-sentence parajumble question only. You in fact get the additional help of sentence 1 and sentence 6. So take that help. Let's do one question together. First and the last sentences are fixed. Now see, having a good vocabulary can help you. I'll not deny this. While you should not get caught up in specific words because you're ultimately trying to understand the entire sentence, not just the meaning of that particular word. But if you already have a good vocabulary, that actually helps you navigate more smoothly. You'll see that in this question. The opening sentence is, food has always been an inalienable part of every culture. Something that is present in every culture. It's not alien to any culture. Right? So, something that's present in every culture. S6 says the romanticism, when we become fixated on something, when we love something. So we are looking at it from a romantic angle. When we are very idealistic about something, we are looking at it from a romantic angle. The romanticism, though momentary, temporary, is able to transcend, is able to pass through the drudgery. Drudgery is this fatigue that you experience because you're doing menial work, the boredom that you experience because you're doing very routine work. So, drudgery and ruthless monotony. So, quite a few vocabulary words here. Make connections, see what fits best with the sentence 1 and what fits best with sentence 6. Make mandatory pairs and tell me the answer. Yes, let's see who answers the fastest. I'm switching on a timer here. Yes. Disha says D. Okay, good, Disha. Disha has answered in 30 seconds. All right. What do the others say? A, okay. So I expected quite a few of you to answer by now. D, A, all right. So, culinary related to cooking. Related to cooking. Right. We are talking about traditional cooking channels here. Which other sentence talks about these channels? These traditional cooking channels? Tell me. What distinguishes them refers to these traditional cooking channels from the more professional lifestyle channels, is that they embody an experience that is daily enlivened in our kitchens, that daily comes alive in our kitchens and dining rooms. So PQ is a pair because R and S, neither of them talks about these channels. Okay. So the moment you realize that PQ is a pair, you can eliminate which all options. So it's either C or D. Let me see how many of you have given C, how many D. I've got some D's, nobody has said C. All right. So PQ is a pair, then should it be SR, should it be RS? We are reintroduced to a past that is woven into the aroma of our favorite delicacy. So we are reintroduced to a past. We go back to some happy memories, to earlier times. The colors laid out on our plates, because we are being served delicacies, these really good dishes, sumptuous dishes. The hues laid out on our plates leave the bittersweet flavors of often forgotten memories. So this is related to the past. We are reintroduced to a past, and the colors on our plate leave the taste of often forgotten memories. So this romanticism, this idealism of, remembering the past, even though it is momentary, it is able to transcend our boredom, our drudgery, our monotony. So it should be S and then R. C is the answer. This question poses a challenge. Why? Because it is slightly abstract. It's not very, I would say, it's not a newspaper report kind of a, has not been taken from a newspaper report, doesn't talk about a particular event. Rather, it talks about the charm of food in a way. And there are quite a few vocabulary words here that slow down our reading of the sentences. So in such a scenario, while I have explained the meaning of each and every vocabulary word to you, in the exam, don't get caught up in just the vocabulary word. Focus on the structure. So if you see, only P and Q talk about lifestyle channels. This does not talk about it, this does not talk about it, and even this does not talk about it. So immediately your mind should process this, that P and Q cannot come at the end. Q cannot be there at the end. Right? Your mind should also be able to process this, that P and Q should come together. So if P and Q should come together, we are left with just two options. So with just paying attention to just one thing, I have narrowed down my choices to two choices out of five. Right? So now it's just a matter of should it be SR, should it be RS. So S talks about R being reintroduced to a past. Okay. So by actually uh, watching these channels, we are reintroduced to a past. And what happens when we are reintroduced to a past? We actually, they leave flavors of our forgotten memories. They leave flavors, they leave something, leave us with something of often forgotten memories. So पहले S आएगा, first you will be reintroduced and then that will leave a taste. So S and then R, and it perfectly fits with S6. So this sort of idealism of, this sort of nostalgia about past, even though it's momentary, it helps us to transcend all the monotony. S, R, and that's right. Clear, okay, perfect, perfect. So C is our answer here. A good question, this one. And vocabulary helps. So now I'll see if I'm hiding something. If yes, I'll hide myself. Just a second. Oh, no, fortunately, I'm not hiding the text. Read this. S1 and S6 are fixed. This is a very topical question, should not pose a problem. See, I'm timing you. Okay, I've got one answer in 30 seconds. Very good. What do the others say? A, all right. So by now, I expected all of you to answer. All right, I expected all of you to have answered by now. A versus D, that's what I've got. Let's have a look. So, this is easy. Why? Because F has a yet India ranks. So that means I'm drawing a contrast with something. Okay. Also, when I say India ranks 104th, that's not a good rank, right? In the FIFA points table. So to rub salt into its festering wounds. So what has happened is, एक तो पहले ही rank इतना कम. Already, India is ranked so low. On top of that, what else has happened? India has been banned. Okay, All India Football Federation suffered the humiliation of being banned on August 15th. So this on top of that, to rub salt into someone's wounds is basically to add insult to injury, right? To in a way worsen an already bad situation. So S and P is a pair. Once you realize that S comes first and P comes later, S comes first and P comes later. Okay. But S and P is a pair. That is also something that we have realized. So even these two options can be eliminated. R will come after this. So how is it that India has a complicated link with football? Because there was a brief history when India played football in the Olympics. And currently the European leagues remain a top draw on Indian television. We're talking about Indian television here. Yet India ranks so far behind. And to rub salt into its wounds, it was banned. Why was it banned? Third party interference was the reason that was given for this punishment. Punitive measure is something given as a punishment. So PQ is again a very clear pair. The moment you realize the sequence SPQ, you know that this is the answer. So you could have done this question again in two steps, SP and PQ. SP and PQ. Right? So our answer is option C. All right. Not D, not A. Not D, not A. Clear to everybody? Are you guys a little tired? Is it? Yes. Nobody said C here. Okay. All right. Then last question for the day. Let's attempt one more question. Right. After that, we'll wrap up. So this is our last question coming on your screen. Yes, yes. It has been taken from the newspaper only. Okay, so your parajumbles are made from newspaper articles, other textbook articles, etc. 11th question, last for the day. I want all of you to respond. Yes, S1 and S6 are fixed. Very easy. It has been lifted. All right. Okay. Fastest fingers first again. A, I've got. Good, good. That was speedy. Let's see what the others say. Ayushi says B. Okay. 2-3 more seconds you have. Answer quickly. So in A and B both, S is the openings, as in after S1, you say that S should come, right? And if we see, this is true also because S is talking about hope. It is elaborating why we should have hope, right? The word hope seems to hold an unambiguous quality, a clear quality in our vocabulary, and is imbued with, and it's basically layered with a kind of purity that makes it unquestionably good. From old sayings to modern slogans, we are encouraged to develop and to sustain a sense of hope. So that is why, because it is seen as unquestionably good. Once we realize that, see, and we go out of the window, right? Then, as a psychotherapist, I believe there is good reason for this. For what? For encouraging us to develop and sustain a sense of hope. So after S, Q should come. The moment we realize this, we know that option A should be our answer. Good. Very good, Disha. You realize this. Good, Nehar. A is the answer here. Okay. And I think some easier pairs were these. Yeah, this Q, first Q will come, then R and then P. This sequence, forming this sequence here, QRP was very, very easy. And this exists only in this question, this option, QRP. Okay, where she talks about her experience as a psychotherapist. Clear to everybody, I hope. And I hope now you know how to approach these 4 sentence, 5 sentence, 6 sentence questions. Just the last few things. Okay. Something that I've told you throughout the session, that make use of options, form 1 or 2 mandatory pairs, read entire sentences. Don't get caught up in the occasional difficult word. Try to focus on understanding the meaning of the sentence. And of course, how will you make pairs? You will make pairs by focusing on theme, structure, and grammar based clues. So I hope this session helped. And if it did, then yes, you can join. You can like the session first of all, and you can join us for a lot more sessions that are going to happen till October 3. Okay. Also, once NMAT happens, we will come up with a first impression and detailed analysis on October 12. So do join us there as well. You can stay connected with us over our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, we are everywhere. And you can join this Telegram group of ours to stay connected with each other. All right. Bye. Welcome and see you next time. Bye bye. Welcome, welcome. Bye.